A psychologist holds a child's life in her hands when they are stalked by a killer. Jo Beth Williams, a world premiere movie, Child in the Night, Tuesday.
Rock and roll with the California Raisins as America learns about their bumpy road to success. An all-new comedy special, The Raisins, sold out Wednesday.
This is CBS.
An isolated shower tonight with lows in the 50s.
Wednesday.
You're my father.
Is it a family reunion?
I wouldn't mind if she were my daughter.
Or a deadly mistake?
We're gonna be together forever.
Jake and the Fat Man. Then, these are the $1 Million Minutes that have made you laugh, touched your heart, and amazed you. David Leisure hosts the world's funniest, cleverest, most imaginative commercials Wednesday. Jane Wyman makes her triumphant return.
Why are you stabbing us in the back?
What do you want? You're ripping us off.
Nothing can stop me now.
Falcon Crest. Then,
Karen McKenzie is being stalked.
does Karen have paranoid fantasies?
I'm gonna leave the show.
Or is it deadly reality on Knots Landing? Thursday. Wise Guy, late nights on CBS.
I Love Lucy, the very first show, will continue.
The mystery of the man who wasn't himself.
I want you to find someone for me.
Sure, who?
Me.
You're sitting right here. Case closed, $50, work it over.
Sydney, Wednesday. Whoopi's husband returns.
Well, hallelujah.
But Whoopi's not buying.
I make you sick. Me sick. No.
On Baghdad Cafe, Friday.
I'm Connie Chung. Join me for a special next Monday after Designing Women. An exclusive interview with Gene Wilder about his wife, Gilda Radner. See you then.
This is CBS. This is a Channel 4 news break.
Good evening, I'm Jackie Walker. Coming up at 11, an American hostage is freed. We'll tell you about hopes for release of the remaining Americans held in Lebanon. Here at home, a lockout of union workers is suddenly reversed. A Buffalo funeral home director is sentenced to prison. And Jamestown has a special interest in tonight's Lost and Found episode of Lucy. Doug Smith will have a report. These stories plus Van will show you why it doesn't pay to argue with the umpire on Big Board Sports tonight at 11. Join us.
An ambulance in trouble, but who rescues the rescuers?
If we hadn't gotten out in the next 10 seconds, we'd be dead right now.
Rescue 911 Tuesday.
Get ready to laugh.
If I had a girlfriend, I'd ask her to first brush her teeth. My mom used to date Batman.
When Small Talk premieres Friday.
And the home of the way.
A cop must find the killer.
I want to know what he saw. The victim's his father.
A doctor must find the truth.
You can't keep running away. You have to face the night that your dad died.
Their only witness, an innocent child.
There's a psychotic out there, and if Luke knows who it is, then he is endangered.
Jo Beth Williams, Tom Skerritt, Child in the Night, Tuesday.
One family's battle to keep their daughter's killer behind bars. Crime victims fighting back. What will the next 48 hours be like? Thursday.
Get ready to smile. It's the one, the only, the original Candid Camera. This week, you'll be going on a non-stop comedy shopping spree. It's all new hilarity with host Alan Funt, Friday.
This is CBS.
Good evening. In the news tonight, smiles and tears of joy. Another American hostage is set free by his Middle Eastern captors. But the door remains closed for others, including Batavia's Terry Anderson. And despite no contract vote, the doors are open for Blue Cross employees who want to work.
Also tonight, we'll tell you why this Buffalo Common councilman is burning his invitation to Crawdaddy's grand reopening. And Jamestown remembers Lucy with some big plans for her fans. And we'll have a look at those stories and much more coming up next on News 4 Buffalo Update.
It's 11 o'clock. And now, Buffalo's #1 newscast with Bob Coop, Jackie Walker, Van Miller with Big Board Sports, and meteorologist Ted Texter with the weather. This is News 4 Update.
An American hostage is freed after 43 months in chains in Lebanon.
I want the Lebanese people to understand that, the world to understand certainly, They should not hold all the Lebanese people responsible for what's happened to us.
Frank Reed is a free man tonight, but 6 other Americans remain behind, hostages to Mideast extremism.
Good evening. Frank Reed is the second American released in the past 8 days.
And his release is raising hopes among other hostage families whose loved ones remain behind tonight. Frank Reed spent a lifetime as an educator until he was swept up in the maelstrom of Middle East politics. Tonight, after 3.5 years in chains in captivity in Beirut, he has been freed with the hopes of more hostage releases if the United States demonstrates goodwill in the Middle East.
He's with the Syrians now.
The expression on the face of Reed's wife at their Malden, Massachusetts home this afternoon told it all.
I don't care. He's out. He's out. I'm thrilled. Overjoyed. Happy, excited, all of the above.
Reed's 91-year-old mother looked on, telling reporters her prayers had finally been answered.
I'm weeping now, but I did not sit and cry. I had a song in my heart all the time.
After pressure from Iran and Syria on the extremist kidnappers, the 57-year-old educator was whisked from Beirut by convoy to the American embassy in Damascus, where he met reporters.
I have been blindfolded for 24 hours a day for 3.5 years. But in fact, I feel rather odd right now that my blindfold is not here. Where is it?
Reed's release comes just 8 days after former hostage Robert Polhill won his freedom. Today, Polhill was greeted at the White House by President Bush, who for the first time thanked Iran for its help in the hostage release.
When a step is taken that goes toward that day when all hostages are released, I should say thank you. But beyond that, I can't say that I can be happy.
Iran and Syria are trying to moderate their positions in the Middle East, not wishing to be seen as extremists by the West, in particular the United States, which still has control of billions of dollars in Iranian assets, frozen since the Islamic Revolution of 1979.
It's very clear that the initiatives are coming from Iran and with the help of Syria. And in the context, it's also fairly clear that both of those countries are trying to develop an image of more moderation toward the United States.
There are now 6 Americans remaining in captivity in Lebanon, but their future remains in doubt, dependent mainly on what backroom deals may be struck between the United States and Iran. As for hostage Terry Anderson, the notoriety of his captivity may actually be working against him.
He would probably be, if this piecemeal one-by-one release of hostages was to take place, could possibly be among the last, although you never know.
Frank Reed is being flown to the American Air Base at Wiesbaden, West Germany tonight, where he will undergo medical testing and debriefing from a special hostage reception team. His wife and son, they are also en route to West Germany tonight for their first reunion in 43 months. Jackie?
Back in Buffalo tonight, unionized employees of Blue Cross are talking about the day they went to work and the doors were locked temporarily. The company had planned a lockout this morning because union workers failed to vote on a contract offer. But suddenly, there was a change of heart.
You have your identification card? All right, I'll hold the door for you.
The lockout lasted only about an hour, and Blue Cross wouldn't comment on why it changed its mind, but the union had this idea.
I feel that possibly this type of activity was tarnishing the image of Blue Cross in the community, and they are very concerned with that image.
Both sides will now be working with a federal mediator to get negotiations rolling again this week. Crawdaddy's, the popular night spot on Buffalo's waterfront, is set to reopen this Wednesday. But at least one local official invited to a VIP pre-opening party won't be showing up.
Just so that they don't misinterpret how Dave Collins feels about what they've done, I want them to see this invitation get burned.
Maston Common Council member David Collins says a public apology from Crawdaddy's owner is not enough to convince him that the nightclub will no longer discriminate against blacks and other minorities. Crawdaddy's had its liquor license suspended for 30 days after being found guilty of discrimination.
And now, not to stop discriminating because of race and color, creed, sex, and national origin, they should not be allowed to operate.
The charges of discrimination at Crawdaddy's and other Western New York nightclubs stemmed from a News 4 undercover investigation. Bob?
A quick-moving and smoky fire has sent a newborn baby boy to the hospital tonight. The baby was found near a first-floor bedroom where the fire began at 24 Brown Street on the city's east side. The baby's mother apparently rescued the child and 3 other brothers and sisters. Now, the flames broke out around 9:45 and rapidly spread throughout the entire story in a half-wood home. That fire is still under investigation. 6 people are now homeless and being cared for by the Red Cross. The baby is being treated for smoke inhalation at Children's Hospital. Buffalo police rounded up 3 suspects today after shots were fired during a convenience store holdup. The bullets just missing the man who owns and operates the store on East 11th Avenue. The store owner quickly called 911 after the holdup man and 2 accomplices left the scene. Police arrested the suspects just minutes later, only a few blocks away. And funeral director Joseph Lombardo was sentenced to 2 years in prison today for selling cocaine to an undercover drug agent. Lombardo also paid the government $200,000 to keep agents from seizing the Buffalo funeral home that bears his name. Lombardo was arrested more than a year ago as part of the FBI's Operation Busico, an investigation into drug smuggling between the United States and Italy.
2 area hospitals are being slapped with fines tonight because the state health department says their patient care has been deficient. Brooks Memorial Hospital in Dunkirk has been fined $12,000 for delayed intensive care, prescribing inappropriate amounts of medication, and inadequate diagnostic testing. A sister's hospital in Buffalo is being fined $15,000 because a surgeon failed to return to the hospital when a patient stopped breathing. The patient subsequently died, and the state says hospital staff failed to promptly recognize the patient's distress symptoms. After 25 years of talking about it, the town of Cheektowaga has decided it's time to tee up and play golf. Tonight, the town board voted to move ahead with plans for its first and only golf course to be built at the end of Ream Road and not in Stiglmeyer Park as had been proposed in the past. The town supervisor says it's time to get going on golf.
We are larger than 26 state capitals in America. A town our size deserves a golf course. It is estimated that we have 47,000 golfers in the town of Cheektowaga, and it's growing. It's the hottest sport of the 80s, and it's projected to be the hottest sport of the 90s.
In other business tonight, the board accepted a draft environmental impact statement for the proposed Liberty Park Inn, Theater, and Retail project that the Desiderio family wants to build on William Street.
Coming up in just moments, stunning new charges on Capitol Hill about abuses at the Housing and Urban Development Agency.
And tens of thousands of Lithuanian mourners send a strong message to Moscow.
Could be some clouds, maybe a little rain and some sunshine too. Your full forecast, it's coming up.
Hockey showdown in Chicago. Highlights of the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Mets too on Big Board Sports.